For 2010 epic.
Congratulations, Claudia. Your husband's bringing you home a new cup to serve morning coffee in.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty nice celebration. Wow. And a word to you for Khan. I mean, he played fantastically all day today. Again, faced the pressure admirably. Barely a misstep. The two players just sitting there, quietly talking to each other. Again, it's just like a friendly game across the kitchen table.
Yeah, very, very even-handed. You see this in so many of the better players.
Yes.
They don't get too low on their losses. They don't get too high on their wins. You're certainly seeing that from, an ebullient Simon Gertzen.
Lightning won the Pro Tour.
Lightning won the Pro Tour. How about that? Congratulations. Nice match.
Yep, thanks.
Yeah, and that is one of the reasons that Luis Scott Vargas is such a great pro, because the downs do not get him down, and the ups do not get him too excited. Just absolutely tremendous player. That was the story we thought we might be getting when we came in here today. BDM, take us through the story of the first Pro Tour Sunday of 2010.
I mean, the story was all about Luis Scott Vargas. We watched him get to 12-0, pretty much lock up a seat at this Sunday, headliner, and he could have easily drawn in. He could have, sort of passed around his favors a little bit and, let some people have an easy route into the top 8. But he said, no, I'm gonna make you fight for it if you want to take away my perfect record. And he went 16-0 in the Swiss, surpassing Ryan Fuller's 14-0 record by 2 whole matches. He then swept through his quarterfinal match, but his was not the history that was going to be written today.
No, that belongs to Simon Gertzen, who defeated Niels Fian in the quarterfinal in a match that was disappointing for Niels. We talked about him with him afterwards, and he said, I had a great run. My Open the Vaults deck is a little mana light. He has gone away and is already planning to unveil it in 5 days' time for his next standard outing with a slightly different configuration, a little bit more mana maybe.
Right. His suggestion was cut 2 Jace, add 2 lands.
Yeah, so if you're going to take that, you're going to sleeve that up for play. That's direct from Niels on that one. So he lost 3-1. And then Bogomaz Ikawa, that was the Jund Mirror. So we saw Bogomaz sweep that 3-0. And then at the bottom match of the quarterfinals, Craig Wescoe, 27 from the United States, playing this tricked out White Weenie. You can look at the deck tech with BDM, hear it direct from Craig on the website, how he put all that together, all the cool interactions that go on in that deck. It is a pretty sweet little deck if you like hitting with guys. It's a nice White Weenie. And he beat the other German in the top 8, Daniel Grafensteiner, by 3-1. So then we went and had a break for lunch. We came back. The date with Destiny was Gertzen against LSV in the semi-finals. And LSV, although he feared Gertzen, he certainly feared Niels more. That's fair to say.
Certainly. He didn't want to face, he wasn't happy with facing either player. Not his ideal matchup. But he said, I think that blue-white deck is going to give me a lot of problems. But, he really had some of the worst draws of his tournament, talking to his teammates in the 3 games that he lost against Simon.
The mulligan to 5 in the decider, sometimes there just isn't a way to win. There is always a way to lose. You can always just arrange it so that you just manage not to win. There is not always that way to claim victory. And
but if there is a way to claim it, Luis will find it.
That is certainly true. A true master, but he bowed out at the semi-final stage. So who would Gertzen face in the final? It was Bogomaz against Wescoe in the other semi. Wescoe out of the gates like a bolt of lightning, or, well, more like, white lightning, because he just utterly monstered his way past Bogomaz in Game 1. Bogomaz's sum total of Game 1 was land, spreading, Thrynax concede. So that was the story of Game 1, but that was as good as it got for Wescoe. Bogomaz came back, 1-1 on the back of Malakir Bloodwitch. What a huge beating that is against white decks. And then 2-1, 3-1, and that set up the final that we have just seen. And you said to me, off camera, just before we started, you said, this is going to go 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's Jund. It's very evenly matched. It was 2 players who seemed very evenly matched in sort of skill level, in demeanor, almost in experience. They both kicked around a fair amount. They've both been playing for a while. and you knew that this was gonna be a serve and volley kind of match.
Sure. So let's go back, take you even a little bit further back than today. We had 16 rounds over 2 days, over 400 players came here on rating, on Pro Tour qualifier wins, on Magic Online qualifiers, the Pro Club level 6 and up auto qualified. You had pros level 4 and 5 getting their invite the night before, so they're allowed to play in Pro Tour qualifiers. And so we ended up a field of over 400, starting out with 5 rounds of standard. And the shape of standard was unclear coming in. All the testing teams were trying lots of different configurations, a lot of interesting decks. One thing that we talked about in our preview show, an extremely funky little item, which you might want to try at home, is Bizarre Trader into Immortal Coil.
Sure, Bizarre Trader into Immortal Coil, Bizarre Trader with Mark of Mutiny, Bizarre Trader, Abyssal Persecutor are all combos.
Yeah.
But, these guys here don't have time to play around with combos.
Yep.
They were down to business.
That's right. And in the end, the field for standard was round about 27% was Jund, the dominant force in standard from recent times. Then a whole bunch of things on sort of 10, 9, 8%. And I guess one of the big surprises was seeing the amount of mono red that people were prepared to risk in the face of Core Firewalker.
But we did not see a lot of it.
No.
But we did see Jeroen Canis play mono red right into the top 8. It was kind of surprising. He disregarded Core Firewalker. We actually saw him kill one with an unstable footing. He just attacked his guys into it, block with this, pay 1 mana, unstable footing. That was part of how Nassif lost his final match.
Indeed. If you are a fan of control decks, if you've been around the game for a long time and you like the idea of going island, yours, plains, yours, you might want to check out the deck of Patrick Chapin. Yeah. He went 8-1-1 in standard with a real old-fashioned, good fun, I say no to things, blue-white control deck.
Blue-white, Brian Weissman style control deck.
Absolutely.
Mana acceleration, wrath effects, one inevitable creature with which you use to win. Card advantage. It's a great deck. I mean, to me, there's 2 clear decks. I mean, Jund obviously remains a clear favorite, but there's 2 clear decks to emerge from this tournament that we did not have coming in. The first is Boss Naya.
Yes.
Which is the deck designed by Tom Ross. We just saw LSV playing it to a semifinal finish in this tournament. He went 10-0 in standard in the Swiss. He went 1-1 in the top 8 with the deck. It's obviously the dominant creature deck, but falling below the radar is Patrick Chapin's blue-white control. Mm-hmm. Because he went, I believe, 3-3 in drafts and ended up not making the top 8 with the deck. Maybe people won't be as aware of it. We did a deck tech with it. The deck is fabulous. It is really a new take on an old classic.
Okay. Now, that was standard. That was the first 5 rounds. Then we went to 6 rounds of draft. One of the nice benefits of being in this room and actually coming to these things, it turns out, if you got onto Magic Online here in the building, you could play World Wake in the draft setting. You can't buy that until Monday in Magic Online proper. But when you do get a chance to do that, BDM, give us some pointers on the draft format that is now Zendikar, World Wake. What did we learn from our 2 draft pods here?
Well, we learned that Mono Black can be terrific. We saw Luis Scott Vargas go 3-0 with it. You can watch, he went 3-0 on day 1 with it. It can also backfire if the cards aren't there for you. There's a lot of good removal spells. We saw Gabriel Nassif go 0-3 with it in the next draft viewer. We did an interview with Luis Scott Vargas about his World Wake draft. Draft 2, he went mono green. He saw, he started on an Eldrazi Monument. He saw Grazing Gladeheart, went just committed to green right then and there, was wheeling green cards, gets the 3rd pack, and he's telling you that there's a card you need, and that is Arbor Elf. He had a small ally package. He says Grey Pelt Hunter is one of the best cards in the set. In the common slot, he says, but you know what? You need an Arbor Elf. You need to accelerate. Green is full of these 4 casting cost creatures like Timbermoor Larva, Grey Pelt Hunter, Leatherback Baloth at 3 that you can play on turn 2, that you can play on turn 3 now with an Arbor Elf. You also get an odd pseudo-vigilance with Vastwood Zendikar with an Arbor Elf on a forest. green is a color that has definitely gone up in value for a lot of people in this third pack.
Yeah, Luis Scott Vargas on the second draft pack, he gave a filthy look to Masaya Kitayama. He said he was mono green in that, and he said, you know what, they've stolen my leatherback Bailoff. I'm not happy at all with that. But so that was draft. Then we came back down the stretch, and you know, we're very privileged. We get to sit there and we see players win and lose on the turn of a card down the stretch when the dreams are at their most potent. And I wanted to close our first booth together with a man who, it turns out, knew quite a bit about Magic. And he said this: far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy nor suffer much, because they live in the grey twilight that knows neither victory nor defeat. And that was Theodore Roosevelt, 1858 to 1919. And that is why we play this great game. The award ceremony is coming right up with the tournament manager, Mr. Scott Larrabee. But until we meet again, for Brian David Marshall, I am your host, Richard Hagan, saying bye.
Hello and welcome to the Pro Tour San Diego 2010 Awards Ceremony. Presenting the prizes today will be head judge Sheldon Menery. First, some prizes that were awarded earlier in the day. In fourth place, winning $13,000 from the United States, Craig Wesco. And in third place, winning $15,000 from the United States, Luis Scott Vargas. And now, presenting the Pro Tour San Diego 2010 finalist, winning $20,000 from the United States, Kyle Bogemus. And now, your Pro Tour San Diego 2010 champion, winning $40,000 from Germany, Simon Gertzen. Once again, a big hand for the champion, Pro Tour San Diego, Simon Gertzen. I'd like to thank the staff, the judges, and the players, and especially you, the worldwide Magic community, for making Pro Tour San Diego such a great success. We'll see you next time, May 28th to 30th in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Thank you and good night.